Welcome to our short series of films on innovation. Today we're talking with James Fraser, actor and filmmaker, about innovation in the film industry. We hope you enjoy what he has to say.
I started in film as an actor when I was 11 years old. I went to a performing arts school and couldn't sing or dance, so I innovated and discovered a love for acting. And I was fortunate in that first year I landed a really great role on a film called December Boys, playing one of the leads. And from there I just fell in love with the world of film. Now I also make my own films. I'd say that innovating in film is just doing things differently to the people that have come before you and the other people that are working at the same time. Film's a relatively young medium. It's only about 100 years old, so people are doing new things all the time. I would say anytime someone tells a new story, they're innovating. And if you're lucky, you can tell stories in new ways as well. And that's where it gets really interesting. In a way, it's impossible not to be innovative as an artist. We all have such distinct creative voices, and if you tap into that voice, which isn't easy to do, but if you do, what comes out is inevitably going to be unique to yourself. Two directors given the same script are always going to make an entirely different film based on what turns them on, what turns them off, what they love, what they hate. That said, obviously there are some films that are less innovative than others. And this is where the negotiation sort of comes in, because film is still very much a business. It's still funded by people who want to make money from it. And the people who want to make money from it want to make things that have been made before and have made money before. The job of the filmmaker a lot of the time is to negotiate that balance between making work that is recognizable, that is familiar, can find an audience, but then finding what you can bring to it and what you can do differently. That's where the innovation comes in, and that's why I love what I do. That's why I'm interested in making films. Every project is its own opportunity to innovate, but one broad project which is definitely an attempt to innovate is called The Great Unwashed. It's basically a set of rules on how you can make a film. I think it's very easy as an artist to associate yourself with your ideas, to identify yourself through your work. And it's very dangerous because if you're not taking risks, then you can't discover new things, but you won't take risks if you feel like your bad work is a reflection of you. So this set of rules is basically there to force you to work quickly, and it encourages you to make work that is technically messy and make ideas that are separated from yourself. Not James's idea, but this idea, and you see that idea through and see what happens to it. Not worry too much about the result, just focus on the process. And I think it was successful. We've made probably 20 films through the project now. So it's definitely achieved the goal, which was to create a volume of work and to go through the process of making work. I would say that the reason it was successful, I guess it was just focusing on something that we needed. I think it's an Oscar Wilde quote that says something along the lines of, everything that is ugly was made by somebody who was trying to make something beautiful, and everything that is beautiful was made by somebody who set out to make something useful. And The Great Unwashed was a need that we saw in our own work. Our hopes for the future is that people will be making these films without any involvement from us. We want to give people that same freedom that it's opened up for us. The pursuit for perfection can be paralyzing. It's coming directly from you. It's creative work. It's so clearly rooted in yourself. It is a reflection of you in a way. And you have to distance yourself from the work as a result. You have to forgive yourself talented people will have bad ideas too. That's okay. I definitely find with myself it's about just making a lot of work, and some of it sticks. I think that's how you find your style as a creative too. Working in different ways, inspired by different idols of yours. No, this doesn't feel right. Oh, there's something in this that resonates with me. I definitely think in film, one of the great hindrances to innovation is that there's just not the finance available to people who want to explore new ways of making films. It's cutting off the people who would be coming up with new ways of doing things and new ideas and telling stories in different ways. They still exist, they're still there, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing a film that you've not seen anything even done in the style of. We recently had Sydney Film Festival, and Sydney Film Festival is great because these films come from all over the world. There was one film in particular, which was actually an American film, but it was made by two music video directors. It's about a castaway who is going to hang himself, and then a corpse washes up, and then the corpse talks to him, and they end up having this friendship on the island. And you could feel the energy in the room as the film was progressing, because people didn't know what was going to happen next. There was no conventional formula to the structure. The characters were so unique. Everyone was there together experiencing a film that like they'd never seen before. And I mean, that's why I think we do it. Why we do it as audience members, and also why we do it as creators, is to see art that has never been made before. I guess that's the Australia of the future. That's how we're going to get there. Innovation leads to progress, and I mean that's how we've gotten to where we are now. Australia is already a famously innovative country. I mean, considering the relatively small population, there's a lot of new ideas that come from this little corner of the globe. And I guess we have our quality of life to thank for that. We give people the freedom to explore and to experiment. There's always room for more support for innovators, I believe, though. I think anytime you set out to innovate, you have to ground it in established conventions. Otherwise, it just ends up being noise. The structures are there and they have worked for thousands of years. I mean, this is talking about narratives specifically, but it probably applies across all areas. The structures that are in place exist because they work very well. So I think you always want to come back to relatedness and what has been done before. And I think it's very useful to look at what has worked and not worked in the past. With that film, for example, that was made by two music video directors, you know, it's the same length as a usual feature film. It's still got an arc like a normal feature film. The characters are recognizable. We can relate to the people. But once they've got those conventions in place, then they're free to experiment and play, and we can make sense of it because there's enough there for us to recognize.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that couple of minutes we spent with James Fraser. I certainly feel, having met him and worked with him, that the future of innovation in this country, and perhaps even around the world, is in good hands.